This is Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. Go, Carolina. Anyone who watches even the slightest amount of TV is familiar with the scene. An agent knocks on the door of some seemingly ordinary home or office. The door opens and the person holding the knob is asked to identify himself. The agent says, "I'm going to ask you to come with me." They're always remarkably calm, these agents. If asked, "Why do I need to go anywhere with you?" they'll straighten their shirt cuffs or idly brush stray hairs from the sleeves of their sport coats and say, "Oh, I think we both know why." The suspect then chooses between doing things the hard way and doing things the easy way. And the scene ends with either gunfire or the gentlemanly application of handcuffs. Occasionally, it's a case of mistaken identity, but most often, the suspect knows exactly why he's being taken. It seems he's been expecting this to happen. The anticipation has ruled his life, and now, finally, the wait is over. You're sometimes led to believe that this person is actually relieved, but I've never bought it. Though it probably has its moments, the average day spent in hiding is bound to beat the average day spent in prison. When it comes to decide who gets the bottom bunk, I think anyone would agree that there's a lot to be said for doing things the hard way. The agent came for me during a geography lesson. She entered the room and nodded at my 5th grade teacher, who stood frowning at a map of Europe. What would needle me later was the realization that this had all been prearranged. My capture had been scheduled to go down at exactly 2:30 on Thursday afternoon. The agent would be wearing a dung-colored blazer over a red knit turtleneck, her heels sensibly low in case the suspect should attempt a quick getaway. "David," the teacher said, "this is Miss Sampson, and she'd like you to go with her now." No one else had been called, so why me? I ran down a list of recent crimes, looking for a conviction that might stick. Setting fire to a reportedly flame-proof Halloween costume, stealing a set of barbecue tongs from an unguarded patio, altering the word "hit" on a list of rules posted on the gymnasium door. Never did it occur to me that I might be innocent. "You might want to take your books with you," the teacher said, "and your jacket. You probably won't be back before the bell rings." Though she seemed old at the time, the agent was most likely fresh out of college. She walked beside me and asked what appeared to be an innocent and unrelated question. "So, which do you like better, State or Carolina?" She was referring to the athletic rivalry between the Triangle area's 2 largest universities. Those who cared about such things tended to express their allegiance by wearing either Tar Heel powder blue or Wolfpack red, 2 colors that managed to look good on no one. The question of team preference was common in our part of North Carolina, and the answer supposedly spoke volumes about the kind of person you either were or hoped to become. I had no interest in football or basketball, but had learned it was best to pretend otherwise. If a boy didn't care for barbecued chicken or potato chips, people would accept it as a matter of personal taste, saying, "Oh well, I guess it takes all kinds." You could turn up your nose at the president or Coke or even God, but there were names for boys who didn't like sports. When the subject came up, I found it best to ask which team my questioner preferred. Then I'd say, "Really? Me too. Asked by the agent which team I supported, I took my cue from her red turtleneck and told her that I was for state. Definitely state. State all the way. It was an answer I would regret for years to come. State, did you say? The agent asked. Yes, state. They're the greatest. I see. She led me through an unmarked door near the principal's office into a small, windowless room furnished with 2 facing desks. It was the kind of room where you'd grill someone until they snapped, the kind frequently painted so as to cover the bloodstains. She gestured toward what was to become my regular seat, then continued her line of questioning. And what exactly are they, State and Carolina? Colleges? Universities? She opened a file on her desk, saying, Yes, you're right. Your answers are correct, but you're saying them incorrectly. You're telling me that they're collegeth and universities, when actually they're colleges and universities. You're giving me a th instead of a nice, clear s. Can you hear the distinction between the 2 different sounds? I nodded. May I please have an actual answer? Uh-huh. Uh-huh is not a word. Okay. Okay what? Okay, I said. Sure, I can hear it. You can hear what? The distinction? The contrast? Yeah, that. It was the first battle of my war against the letter S, and I was determined to dig my foxhole before the sun went down. According to Agent Sampson, a state-certified speech therapist, my S was sibilate, meaning that I lisped. This was not news to me. Our goal is to work together until eventually you can speak correctly, Agent Sampson said. She made a great show of enunciating her sparkling S's, and the effect was profoundly irritating. I'm trying to help you, but the longer you play these little games, the longer this is going to take. The woman spoke with a heavy Western North Carolina accent, which I used to discredit her authority. Here was a person for whom the word payin had 2 syllables. Her people undoubtedly drank from clay jugs and hollered for paw when the victuals were ready. So who was she to advise me on anything? Over the coming years, I would find a crack in each of the therapists sent to train what Miss Sampson now defined as my lazy tongue. That's its problem, she said. It's just plain lazy.